People spend their entire lives waiting for a sign, waiting for a miracle, waiting for someone to show up and hand them a life worth living. But that day never comes. And it never will, because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to rescue you from the version of yourself that you tolerate every single day. You want change, you want success, you want power. Then understand this. The only person who is responsible for your life is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Every excuse, every delay, every hesitation is a decision to stay weak. When you believe in yourself, it is not about empty positive talk. It is about finally owning your life, owning your decisions, owning your future. It is about declaring war on every soft habit, every lazy thought, every cowardly impulse, because that is how you build belief, not by hoping, but by conquering. Belief is earned, not given, and it is earned through discipline. The world will try to convince you that motivation is enough, but motivation is fleeting. Discipline is permanent. Belief is not built when you feel good. It is built when you feel tired. When you are sore, when it is raining, when no one is watching, and you still show up. When you push when it hurts, when you keep going when everyone else quits. That is when belief in yourself is forged. People want confidence without pain. They want results without work. But that is not how power is created. Every single day, you must demand more from yourself, not less. Because when you raise your standard, your mind adapts and belief becomes unshakable. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If the people around you are comfortable being average, then you will either lower yourself to fit in or rise up and walk alone until you find others who refuse to settle. Your circle is either your power or your prison. If you surround yourself with complainers, victims, weak minds, then you are volunteering to be one of them. Belief in yourself dies in environments built on excuses, on gossip, on comfort. But when you're around winners, people who wake up hungry, people who train hard, think sharp, and never back down, something shifts in your soul. Iron sharpens iron. And that friction forces growth. Your tribe determines your trajectory. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you will ever possess, but only if you train it. Most people are slaves to their emotions, reacting to everything, obeying their fears, hiding behind false narratives, and calling it humility. But belief in yourself begins with mastering your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your identity. So you better guard your mind like it's a fortress. You better feed it with power, with precision, with purpose. The moment you let negativity fester, the moment you entertain doubt, you weaken your edge. You are not meant to be soft. You are not meant to be confused. You are meant to be dangerous, focused, calculated, and relentless. And that begins in your own mind. Comfort is the biggest lie they sell you. They say rest more, take it easy, relax. But what they do not tell you is that comfort kills belief. Every time you avoid discomfort, you tell your brain that you are not strong enough to handle it. Every time you stay in bed, instead of facing the cold challenge of life, you train your body to surrender. And surrender destroys confidence. You were not made to hide from. Struggle, you were made to dominate it every day. You should do something that pushes you, something that sharpens you, something that reminds you that you are not average. Because once you prove to yourself that you can walk through fire without flinching, you become unstoppable. The world respects results, not intentions, not dreams, not fantasies. Results. Belief in yourself comes from becoming the kind of person who produces results over and over again, regardless of mood or situation. The truth is, most people already know what they need to do. They just do not want to face the discomfort of actually doing it. They wait. They overthink. They let fear drive the car and then wonder why their life never changes. But the second you decide to stop negotiating with your weakness and start taking action with speed and precision, your entire world begins to shift. You begin to walk different, talk different, feel different, because belief is not about waiting to feel ready. Belief is about becoming ready by doing what needs to be done, even when you do not want to. You are capable of far more than you think, but you will never know it until you push past who you are now. Every second you waste doubting yourself is a second you could spend building yourself. You do not need anyone's permission to rise. You do not need anyone's approval to win. You need only one thing: relentless action in the direction of your vision. Everyone thinks that life is this game where eventually someone steps in and makes everything right. People honestly believe that if they just wait long enough, someone will knock on their door and hand them the dream job, the ideal body, the money, the power, the confidence. They think some mentor or some miracle is going to fix their life. And I'm here to tell you that belief is the first lie that keeps people weak. If you're sitting around hoping that someone's going to give you permission to live like a champion you've already lost, the only permission you need is your own. You're not the side character in someone else's movie. You are the main character in yours. And until you step into that truth and start acting like it, nothing will change. No one is coming to do the work for you. No one is going to fix your habits, your mindset, your discipline, your ambition. It's on you entirely. People will spend years blaming their childhood, their job, their partner, their boss, the system, but that blame keeps them trapped, and they do not even realize it. They think pointing the finger gives them some kind of control, but it doesn't. It gives them nothing. It takes their power away. Every time you make an excuse, every time you blame someone else, you're just telling yourself that you are not in charge. And if you're not in charge, who is? The world doesn't owe you understanding. The world doesn't owe you fairness. The world responds to action, not to complaining. So if you want your life to change, stop looking outside of yourself for the answer. Start taking full responsibility for everything you are and everything you're not. And the moment you really understand that, the moment it clicks that no one's coming, that it's all on you, something shifts inside of you. That's when you stop feeling sorry for yourself and start building. That's when you stop saying I can't and you start saying I must. People say they want freedom, but most of them can't even get out of bed without hitting snooze 5 times. They say they want greatness, but they can't even control their screen time. They want to feel powerful, but they outsource every hard decision to someone else and wonder why they feel weak. If you want to believe in yourself, if you want to feel confident, you have to start by realizing that everything starts with you and ends with you. That mindset is the beginning of real transformation. You will never build belief sitting around waiting. You will never build belief by listening to more feel-good quotes. And soft advice belief is earned in the battlefield of your daily habits. It is earned in the silence of those moments when no one is watching and you have the choice to either push or quit. When you realize that you are the hero of your own story, you stop asking for help and you start creating results. You stop looking for a way out and start looking for a way through. People confuse comfort with safety, but there is nothing safe about staying small. There is nothing safe about letting your dreams rot while you watch other people live the life you wish you had. Your life is your responsibility. And the day you understand that fully is the day you stop needing external motivation and start generating your own. This is the harsh truth most people don't want to hear because it requires something they've never practiced. It requires strength of will. It requires grit. It requires obsession with growth. And most of all, it requires accepting that your past doesn't matter. Your current limitations don't matter. If you're willing to act and act now, the longer you wait for someone to give you confidence, the more you reinforce the lie that you're not capable of creating it yourself. You can read every book you want. You can listen to 100 motivational speeches, but until you look in the mirror and say, I will fix this with or without help, nothing changes. So what do? You wake up and make a decision. You decide that from this moment forward, you don't wait for a savior. You become your own. You decide that you are the one who creates the outcomes in your life and no one else. You decide that your belief isn't based on what others think. It's based on what you prove to yourself through consistent, relentless effort, day after day. You build belief through action, through execution, through results that compound over time. And even when it gets hard, even when it hurts, You push through because belief is forged in fire, not in comfort. You have to rise like no one is watching and fall like no one will catch you, because that is what builds the unshakable core. That is what makes you bulletproof. When you truly understand that you are the only one responsible for your rise, then you stop waiting and you start dominating. And once you make that shift, your entire life begins to transform. No one is coming. And that's exactly why you must act now. People think belief is something that just shows up one day like it's a gift you're supposed to receive. They think confidence just lands in your lap one morning and from then on you walk around unstoppable. But that's not how it works. Belief doesn't come from talking. It doesn't come from hoping. It doesn't come from positive affirmations whispered into the mirror. Belief is built from discipline, and only discipline every time you do what you said you'd do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. You stack proof that you can trust yourself, and trust is the foundation of belief. People who don't believe in themselves are the same ones who can't keep promises to themselves. They say they wake up early, but hit snooze. They say they'll train, but stay on the couch. They say they'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week. And then they wonder why they feel weak inside. You want to feel powerful, then stop lying to yourself. You want to be confident, then earn it through relentless follow through. It doesn't matter what your goals are if your habits are soft. It doesn't matter what your potential is if your work ethic is inconsistent. You can dream as big as you want, but dreams without discipline are just empty wishes. Discipline is doing the right thing when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when every part of you wants to take the easy road, but you choose the hard one because you know who you're becoming. This is where belief gets forged in the fire of repetition, in the pain of sacrifice, in the silence of self-control, when people go out to party and you stay in to build, when people take a day off and you go harder, when comfort whispers in your ear and you tell it to shut up. That's where belief is born. People always ask how to believe in themselves. And I say the same thing every time. Get disciplined, fix your routine, fix your focus, and fix your standards, because your belief will never rise higher than the level of your daily actions. You can't walk around with the habits of a failure and expect the mindset of a winner. You can't treat your life like a hobby and expect championship results. Every meal you skip, every workout you dodge, every hour you waste scrolling, instead of sharpening your mind, is a decision to remain average. And average kills belief. Average is where dreams go to die. Average is where regret lives, and discipline is the only way out. Let me make it very clear. Belief is not about how you feel. It's about what you do. You think the most powerful people in the world feel motivated every day? You think they enjoy every session, every meeting, every rep? No, they don't. But they show up anyway. And that's why they win. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It tells you what to do. And once you start operating that way, you stop waiting for motivation and start generating momentum. And that momentum starts feeding your confidence. Every rep builds a layer. Every early morning stacks pride. Every clean decision adds to the pile. And suddenly you wake up one day and realize you're not the same person you were a month ago, because you kept showing up, because you refused to quit. Most people lose belief because they negotiate with weakness. They let their emotions make decisions instead of their principles. They say, I don't feel like it, and they obey that voice. But the problem is that voice never leaves. It keeps showing up. It keeps winning until your life becomes a reflection of every time you said no to your potential. But when you replace that voice with action, when you feel tired but train anyway, when you feel distracted but lock in anyway, when you feel lazy but move anyway, you begin to rewire your identity. You begin to see yourself as a machine, not a victim. And that identity shift is where real belief grows. From discipline is also freedom. People misunderstand that. They think discipline is restrictive. They think it's about suffering, but that's because they've never experienced the kind of confidence that comes from being in control of your own life. The kind of pride that hits you when you know you kept your word to yourself again and again. Discipline gives you leverage over your own mind. And once you control your mind, you control everything else. You stop being reactive. You stop being emotional. You stop being weak. And that's where confidence becomes natural, not forced, not faked, but earned and rooted in truth. You want to believe in yourself. Then do what most people refuse to do. Stop chasing feelings and start building discipline. Set your alarm and get up when it rings. Train your body, train your mind. Eat like a weapon, think like a warrior, act like someone who refuses to be average, and do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, until there's no doubt left in your system. Because belief doesn't come from outside, it comes from within, and discipline is the tool that unlocks it. Discipline is the path, and belief is the reward. You want to build belief in yourself? Then look around at who you let into your life, because you can have the strongest will in the world, but if you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, people who quit, people who blame everything except themselves, you will get dragged down without even noticing it. Energy is contagious. Mindset is contagious. Laziness is contagious. If you hang around 5 people who make excuses every day, you will become the 6th. And then you'll start wondering why your belief is so fragile. It's because every conversation you have, every interaction you absorb is shaping your standards. And if their standards are low, yours will sink right down with them without a fight. Most people are too soft to distance themselves from weak energy. They're afraid to be alone, so they settle for average friends. They settle for people who tell them it's okay to slack off, it's okay to take it easy, it's okay to be just good enough. And the longer you stay in that environment, the more your mind starts to believe that being average is acceptable. Not always in obvious ways, but in subtle comments and bad advice and silence, when they should be pushing you forward. They're not bad people. They're just not built for the life you want. And if you stay tied to them, you won't be either. You can't fly if you're surrounded by people who never left the ground. Belief needs fuel, and that fuel comes from your environment. You need people around you who are obsessed with winning, people who push themselves past limits every day, people who treat time like gold and energy like currency. You need people who don't flinch when things get hard, people who train when others sleep, read when others scroll, build when others talk, people who are not afraid to call you out when you slip. It's not because they hate you, but because they refuse to let you fall below your potential. That kind of circle builds belief because you see greatness in motion every single day. And it makes you rise. It makes you sharpen up. It makes you check yourself before you make excuses. You want to feel powerful. Stop surrounding yourself with people who drain your fire and start surrounding yourself with people who light it up. If you're the smartest, hardest working, most driven person in your group, then that group has become your ceiling, not your platform. The goal is not to feel superior to your circle. The goal is to feel challenged, sharpened, pushed until your best becomes your new standard. This is how belief becomes natural, because when your baseline environment is excellence, your mind adapts to match it, your actions elevate, your vision expands. And you stop questioning your worth because you're living in alignment with high-level energy. Now, this doesn't mean you cut everyone off with no thought. It means you make decisions based on your mission, not your emotions. It means you stop giving your time to people who waste theirs. It means you set boundaries so tight that nothing weak can sneak through. You're not rude, you're focused, you're not arrogant, you're selective. Because your time, your attention, your energy is the most valuable currency you have. And if you spend it on people who don't grow you, you're broke, even if your bank account says otherwise. Belief in yourself comes from protecting your mind, protecting your space, and elevating your environment until everything around you reflects the power you want to live with. So ask yourself right now, who in your life makes you sharper? Who in your life challenges your limits? Who in your life refuses to let you settle? And if the answer is no one, then that explains why your belief is low. Because you've been carrying dead weight, thinking it's loyalty. You've been feeding doubt by staying silent around mediocrity. You've been sabotaging your confidence by staying in circles that reward weakness instead of demanding strength. The moment you change your circle is the moment you change your life. And when you finally surround yourself with people who win, with people who lead, with people who never back down, you'll notice something powerful inside you start to rise. Your circle is either building your belief or breaking it down every day. So choose wisely because your future depends on it.